Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode in our NCAA 13, NCAA Football 13 coaching career. I, of course, am CR Daredevil, bringing to you another week in this series, as it is time for the Florida Atlantic Owls to play their second game of the season. After a big win last week, a 35-23 victory, they are going to be taking on a conference foe this week in Middle Tennessee State. The Blue Raiders is going to be at Middle Tennessee as well, so that should be Middle Tennessee State, that is, so that should be a little bit of a struggle. As you can see there, they are better than us overall. They are better than us offensively, but we are apparently better than them defensively, despite the fact that we're both Ds. So, make sense of that as you will. But it is time to see if CR Daredevil can keep the winning streak, or not winning streak, but the winning ways going, and lock in a victory here in the second game of the season, this time against a conference foe. As I mentioned last week, they won 35-23. Should definitely go back and watch that episode. Passing game did struggle. They were not great in the passing game, but the rushing game definitely helped save the day for the Owls. So we'll have to see if they depend on the rushing game again this week, the ground game, if you will, or if they're able to get things going through the air for them. As speaking of going through the air, Jesse Cox, the senior quarterback, who definitely did struggle last week. He struggled. He kind of got a little bit better towards the end of the game, but he did struggle. And we're going to have to see if he can lead the Owls to victory here at Middle Tennessee State. Coin toss happens, and the Florida Atlantic Owls get the coin toss to go their way. They're going to kick, which means that the Blue Raiders will be starting off with the ball. So that way the Owls can get it to start off the second half. Simply until we get on the field. And Middle Tennessee State has already gone down the field and scored 7. So they've already got a 7-0 lead over the Owls here at their home stadium. We'll have to see what the Owls can do, starting off at the 16-yard line here. Cox back to pass. Look, heaves it deep, but he overthrew his receiver by a mile on that one. We already have a studio update as Pittsburgh defeats Cincinnati 19-17. Pittsburgh going to 2-0 on the season. Cincinnati dropping their first game of the season and going to 0-1. On top of that, we have Alabama barely winning against Western Kentucky 25-14. That is something. Alabama was only able to win by 11 over Western Kentucky. That's certainly something there. After that long ball, that deep overthrown pass by Cox there, we have to see what the Owls can do here on 2nd and 10. Handing off to the running back, who takes it right over the left side for the first down. Again, as you can see, as you've been able to tell in that first game, and as you're able to tell here so far, the running game is the backbone for this Owl team. They're able to just run over the defense. That guy is very disappointed by that. They're able to do a lot on the run or on the ground. There's another first down here, about the 29-yard line there. Fake handoff there on the draw. Big run up the middle for another first down. Another big gain as the Owls just keeping it on the ground. Getting the big yardage there, getting the big gains. We're up to just shy of the 45-yard line now. 2 straight runs, they've been eating up a lot of the yardage. Defense jumped the snap. It didn't matter because big run up the middle once again. There is a flag on the play, though. And that run is coming back as Freddie Willis commits the penalty there. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 20 now for the Owls. Head coach of the Owls not happy. I don't think that's us. Actually, I don't remember what we look like. It's been a few weeks since I've recorded this this series last, so Nevertheless, 1st and 20. Cox under center. Goes back to pass. Looking, throws it short. Gets a 3-yard completion. Duncan with that 3-yard catch there. So got him at least a couple yards, but it's not going to help them out if they're trying to get that first yard, or the first down, that is. Nevertheless, 2nd and 17 here as Cox goes back under center here. Tossing it to the left there. Look at the yardage gain there. 10-yard gain off the run to the weak side there. That is Duncan with that run there. Big gain there, as again, it's the running game. The running game is the thing that saved the Owls last week. And it may just end up being the same thing to save them this week as well. We'll have to see. It is 3rd and 7, though. You got to imagine they're going to go to the air, which kind of is kind of a sign there by Cox going back in the shotgun. Looking back to pass, looking across the middle, has this man for the first down. Just barely crosses the first down marker there. The cheerleaders are happy to see that. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. They're across the 50. They're heading towards the end zone. We're going to have to see if Cox can lead the team to a touchdown and get this thing tied back up. Turns around, hands off. Big hole up the middle, but there is a penalty. That might be why there was a big hole up the middle. That's holding again. This time David Hearn, the fullback, committing the penalty. A lot of holds. A lot of holds that the Owls committed last week as well. But, they're going to have to see if they can come back from those holds. They're going to have to get a little bit better about that. Stop with the holding calls. So this is going to bring up a 1st and 17 here. Back on the other side of the 50-yard line. Cox back in the shotgun. He is looking for a receiver to get open. Looking, tosses it, completes it. Able to get it down. Able to get 9 yards back off of the penalty. So gets the penalty back and then some a little bit there. It's a nice little completion to Walker there. Gets them into a 2nd and more manageable for sure. After that 9-yard reception from Charles Walker, we have a 2nd and 8 scenario here. Cox under center. Turns around, hands off. Daniel getting loose again. Gets 8-yard gain. This brings a 3rd and 1 scenario. Pretty sure we know what's going to happen here. All right, well, now they're saying it was a 7-yard gain, but whatever. Pretty sure we know what's going to end up happening here, though. It's kind of the backbone of the team, and there he is. Another rush up the middle. This time getting the first down. That's what we've been seeing from the Owls. The Owls have been having this ground game that just works for them. Outside of the, few holding calls that happened, the ground game has just been working for them so far. Cox turns around, hands off once again. This time that was Duncan taking that carry. 7-yard gain there. Looked like he was a little slow to get up, but he did manage to get up pretty easily, so no worries there. As they are at just about the 25-yard line here. Looking to get into the red zone. Another handoff. And this time the run game gets stopped a little bit. Does still get positive yards, but Brett Daniel getting stopped before he's able to do too much damage. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and 2 situation for the Owls of Florida Atlantic. They are 2 for 2 so far, 3rd downs in this game. Crowd getting into it, chanting defense, which you might be able to hear, I'm not sure, but turns around, hands off to the right there, and Brett Daniel can't get free from the defender, and that's going to be a 4th and 2. That's going to bring up the field goal unit, potentially. Except it looks like it's not going to be field goal unit because they're staying on the field. The Owls are taking a chance here in the first quarter. 4th and 2. Turns around and hands off. And that goes nowhere. They do not get the first down as the Blue Raiders are able to stop them on the 4th down attempt. 2 straight runs that got smashed right there. So that's huge for the Blue Raiders. They were able to try to go down the field, but they get nothing going. So gonna have to see if the Blue Raiders can get something going here on this second drive as they turn the ball over on downs the first drive here. Cox is back to pass. He has somebody in his face and he takes the sack. Should have tried throwing it away. He didn't though, as he just kind of sat there and took that sack. And the Owls offense is not looking great at the moment. A 9-yard sack there brings up a 2nd and 19. At about the 29-yard line. Cox back to pass again. Looking. He has a lot of time there. Does manage to connect with his receiver there. He's able to make up the sack yardage and then some. As that's about an 11-yard gain there for number 2. Getting a little bit of John with the defender there. Brings up a 3rd and 8 scenario. FAU 2 of 3 on 3rd down so far in this game. Cox is back in the shotgun though. He's going to need another good completion for the first down here. Back to pass, looking. Throws it to the left. And has his man. And that's a first down. What a grab. What a grab by Stewart there. Getting his feet to stay in while he catches that ball. What an impressive first down grab there by Stewart. A great catch there. Able to keep the drive alive. But the booth is reviewing it though. The booth is reviewing to see if that was a catch or not. I don't know why, because you see there. Uh-oh, he might have stepped on the... he might have stepped out. He might have stepped out. Yep, he stepped out of bounds on that. Unfortunately, he got the toes on the line. And that's an out of bounds play. So that's going to be a 4th down. That's going to be a punting situation. Thankfully, the defense is able to hold strong, though. As it's still only a 7-0 ball game. But Florida Atlantic has been pinned deep to start off this drive. They are back at their own 3-yard line here. Turns around, hands off to the right there. And he's breaking free. That's Brett Daniel. Big gain there, getting that room for them. What a gain there by Brett Daniel to get them out of the shadow of the end zone. He takes it around the right side and look at just the open space there. He's able to kind of get the defenders to have to chase him a little bit there. A big gain is now brings them up to the 34-yard line. Gives them a little bit of room to work with here. Coming up on 5 minutes left in this first half. Cox back to pass. Looking, throws a slant there, but bounces around, but gets incomplete. That one was an awkward one there because that was bouncing around the defender and the receiver there for a hot minute, but unfortunately falls incomplete for the Owls. Brings up a 2nd and 10 scenario at the 34-yard line. Cox under center here. Back to pass, and Albee takes it off, but that play goes nowhere. It gets blown up by Kaysen there, number 40. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 situation. That's not a good scenario for the Owls because they do not do well with 3rd and long. Nevertheless, Cox has an empty backfield. He's going to look to pass here on 3rd and 10. Looking for somebody, throws it a little bit wobbly, and that one gets swatted away by the defender. Swatted away by the defender, incomplete, and that's going to be a 4th and 10. The Owls are just struggling here on offense. Ever since they turned the ball over on downs in that first drive, they have not really gotten much of anything going. Thankfully for them, the defense has been put in the work and not allowed any further points beyond that as well. But a good starting field position here as they are starting at the 39-yard line. We'll have to see if they can do something with that with 3:14 here to go. As Daniel's able to shrug off one attempted tackle there. And able to get 6 yards out of that. He's rushed 8 times for 72 yards in this game. For an average of 9 yards a carry. Which is a very impressive game there. 2nd and 4 here. Cox turning around, handing off. Daniel's able to fight free it over the first down marker and then some. A very impressive run there. As he just got stopped up, waited for his time, spun out of it. Was able to get past 40 there and was able to get the first down and then some. Brett Daniel with a good run there as they are back across their 50. Trying to get something going here. Trying to get some points on the board before halftime for sure. Coming up on 2.5 minutes left until halftime. Turns around, hands off yet again. Daniel with a hurdle and then a spin move, but he gets only about 3 yards out of all of that as he gets tackled. 2nd and 7 here. Coming up on 2 minutes left in the first half. Cox is going to have to do something to get them within field goal range for sure. He's back to pass, throws it across the middle, completes the pass there. Gets him down inside the 25. Walker with the big catch there. Down to the 24, a big completion there. Walker is just able to get past his defender, cut back inside, and able to get that. Look at that right there in the numbers. See, when Cox has the opportunity to throw it like, shorter passes and all that kind of stuff, he throws them well. It's just when he has to try to throw the deep bombs, that's when it hurts him. Whenever he tries to throw them, whenever he has to try to throw it out for his receivers, they end up kind of sailing past the target most of the time. Cox back to pass, throws it, and oh, that should have been an interception. Right as I was sitting there talking him up that he does that. That should have been an interception, though. That defender had that ball, and he dropped it. Walker has been taken out, though. He's out with back spasms. Questionable to come back in the game. Turns around, hands off to Daniel, who's got a little bit of room on the right-hand side there, but only a little bit. He's able to get 5 yards. We'll bring up a 3rd and 5 situation. The Owls are going to have to figure out what they want to do to try to do something here. Either they're going to, they got to try to get the first down. We'll have to see what happens here. 1:15 left in the first half. Hands the ball off. Run up the middle. First down and then some, just shy of the end zone. A big gain by Brett Daniel, who's able to take it into a 1st and goal scenario for the Owls. Get him about the 2-yard line, I believe that is. A big gain there by Brett Daniel. As the Owls are knocking on the door now, looking to put points on the board right before halftime. Cox pitches it to the right. That's Aaron Donald, but he is unable to get the first down. Or able to get the end zone. No, that is 4:13 left in that game as NC State and Connecticut are tied at 24 apiece. This game here, we've got the Owls knocking on the door, trying to get into the end zone. Sorry, Aaron Duncan, not Aaron Donald. less than 40 seconds left. Cox is back in the shotgun looking to throw it, and he gets tackled, right? Or he gets hit as he throws, and it goes nowhere. That's going to bring up a 3rd and goal situation. What are the Owls going to try to do here on 3rd and goal at the 3-yard line? 33 seconds left. They do have all 3 timeouts still. Handing off to Duncan, who takes it around the right, tries to fight into the end zone for the touchdown. A big touchdown there by Aaron Duncan, who's able to plow over a guy to get into the end zone and get the Owls on the board right before the half. As we see the PAT, this will tie things up as long as he's able to connect with it. Puts it up and through. So it is a 7-7 ball game. Definitely looking a little bit different than it was last week, but hey, you know, it's a tougher opponent, and that's going to happen. So we have to see what happens there as halftime happens. We'll take a quick look at the halftime stats real quick since we didn't actually have halftime there. So at halftime here, I mean, as you can see right off the bat, it's still a close game as well. I mean, both teams with 9 first downs. Middle Tennessee State 185 yards of total offense. Florida Atlantic 169 total yards. But I mean, as you can see, that it's the difference here. Like Middle Tennessee State definitely a passing team with 130 yards through the air already, whereas Florida Atlantic have 124 yards on the ground. So it's definitely passing game versus the running game on this one. Florida Atlantic had the advantage at third down conversions. Turnovers, though, I mean, that could be kind of a big thing as well, as Middle Tennessee State's already had a fumble that they lost at one point. So time of possession definitely in Florida Atlantic's favor, but they haven't been able to get anything done with it. They haven't been able to get the job done with it. So we'll have to see if they can keep things going here in the second, or try to keep momentum that is on their side here in the second half, as it is the first play. The first offensive play that is after the halftime. Cox is back in the shotgun by himself with an empty backfield. He's back to pass, looking for someone, looking for anybody, throws it across the middle, connects at the 50-yard line. What a completion there by Meyer, who was like, Cox was just waiting for something to happen there. Meyer was able to get just a little bit of freedom. He was able to stop and come back for it, letting Cox have a target. And a big completion there to start off the first drive of the second half. Big completion there, as the Owls are already back on the other side of the 50-yard line. Getting points here would be huge at this point. Not only getting the final points of the first half, but then possibly getting the first points of the second half. That'd be huge for the Owls when it comes to momentum. Unfortunately, that run by Brett Daniel did not go anywhere. And it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 situation here for the Owls. Looking to go to 2-0 on this early season here. Cox under center. Sends a man in motion, back to pass. Quick throw to the outside there. Able to get about 6 yards on that. Able to get about 6 yards on that. Will bring up a 3rd and 4. So third and pretty manageable. Can't go wrong with that. Florida Atlantic 4 for 6 so far on third downs in this game. A handoff to Daniel, and he's going to get sacked. He's going to get tackled in the backfield. Middle Tennessee State is putting a stop on the run game now at this point, it seems like, as that run game has not been working as well as it had in the first few drives. Just like that, Florida Atlantic has to turn the ball over. Middle Tennessee State still can't do anything with it, though. So it's still a 7-7 ball game. Florida Atlantic gets the ball back about where they were at the end of the last drive. They're about the 46-yard line on the good side of the 50 for them. The draw handoff, though, and that's going to obviously do well for him. Usually the draw does pretty well for him, as Brett Daniel had a big run up the middle there for a first down. Although he gets hit pretty hard. He's hit pretty hard after that, and he's down. He's hurt. We have to hope that Daniel is okay. He's able to come back into the game. I think that put him over 100 yards with that run. Nevertheless, the Owls looking to put some more points on the board here. Turnaround handoff. That went about a yard. Studio update here. So we see number 17, Nebraska, in a 24-all tie with UCLA with 1:49 left in the game. That game's going to be a close call there as to who wins that one. Daniel had the knocked out of him, we're getting told. He will be returning soon So thankfully he's not injured that much. Like, he's not too injured, really. Oh, that was an offensive, or that was a defensive jump there. Free play here. The Owls are able to get a completion there by Stewart, but that was a free play. It looks like they're going to accept the offensive penalty, or the defensive penalty, that is, the offside penalty. So it's going to bring up a 2nd and 4 situation for the Owls. Well, it's a pretty good completion, but unfortunately it doesn't go in the record books because of the penalty. 2nd and 4 here. Handoff. That goes nowhere. There is a flag on the play. And forget the offside penalty because it gets thrown off by a holding penalty by Jake Meyer, the tight end. And it's now going to bring up a 2nd 14 situation. The Owls biting themselves in the foot. Biting themselves in the foot? Yeah, that's the same, right? Shooting themselves in the foot. Once again here with another holding penalty. 2nd and 14, handoff. Pfft, somebody went flying backwards and then a flag immediately got called, so I don't know what the hell happened there. How the hell did you get holding again? Jake Meyer, 2 straight holding penalties, now brings up a 2nd and 20 for the Owls. Apparently Jake Meyer does not know how to do anything other than hold. 2nd and 20 at this point. Gotta imagine the Owls are going to have to go back into the air to try to gain some of the yardage back. Back to pass. Looking. Throws it to Daniel there on the left, or on the right. Yeah, the left side there. He's able to get 2 yards back. So not a great chance there, as now it's going to be a 3rd and long situation for the Owls. A little out of field goal range, so they'd have to get a decent chunk of yardage here to get that. Back to pass. Cox looking for someone. Throws it across the middle. Big completion. 1st down and then some down inside the 10-yard line. What a completion by Cox there, by Jesse Cox with the big completion there. Look at that. Across the middle. Nobody directly on the receiver there. And he's able to get the 1st down. I think that was Walker. That's a huge gain for the Owls. It gets them down to the 11-yard line. And brings up a 1st and 10 inside the red zone for the Owls. Cox faking the handoff. Goes to throw it to the right. And that is out. That's out of bounds, it looks like. Jesse Cox 10 for 16 with 116 yards so far. And apparently they're actually calling that a completion. That is very surprising. That looked like it was out of bounds, but Jake Meyer able to catch that for 9 yards. Now brings up a 2nd and 1 for the Owls. I admittedly thought that went out of bounds, but they called it for the Owls. So handoff, touchdown. Touchdown by Aaron Duncan there. 2nd touchdown of the game. And just like that, in what looked like a rough scenario, a 3rd and long situation, Cox was able to get a big completion, and then able to get another completion to his tight end, Meyer, to get him at a couple yards out, which Duncan was able to fight in for the touchdown. Brings the lead in to the hands of the Owls. Florida Atlantic looking to go up 14-7 here with this point after. And it is good. So 14-7, the Owls are up. Nebraska was able to get a touchdown in those final couple minutes to win their game 31-24. Big win for Nebraska there. They definitely had a game-winning drive there to get that one. This game here, 3:31 left in the 3rd quarter, and it's a 14-7 ball game for Florida Atlantic. Middle Tennessee is able to get down the field and get the touchdown, though, to tie things back up. So we're looking at a tie ball game. The minute 14 left in the 3rd quarter. Florida Atlantic's going to have to do what they can to get the victory on this one. Hand off to the right side. The run game is just not working as strongly as you would think it was. Our first big upset of the day though is number 11 Kansas State goes down at home to Miami, 21-17. So Kansas State won't be ranked number 11 anymore. They'll be dropping in those polls as they lose to Miami, the unranked Miami, that is, 21-17. Back to this game, we got a 14-all scenario here. The Owls' run game has been having a lot more pressure in the second half. So we're going to have to see if they can change things up a little bit. And they can with a completion over the middle here. A big first down completion. If the Owls want to have a chance to win this game, I think they're going to have to stick to this passing game. Cox is looking at least a little bit better than he did last week. And they might have to depend on the passing game this week to try to get the job done. So, I mean, granted, both touchdowns so far have been rushes, but they've been short rushes. So far, there's still more yards on the ground than in the air, but just, the last quarter or so, it's been a little bit rougher for the ground game. Quick slant there, completion. Stewart with the big completion there. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 1 situation. That good quick slant across the middle there. Brian Stewart with a couple of catches so far in this game. Cox under center, 2nd and 1. Should be the last play before the end of the third quarter. And big run up the middle, but of course it's getting called back because of holding call. Yep. The Owls are just shooting themselves in the foot with all of these holding calls. It is getting rough out there for them. Although apparently that holding call was only worth 2 yards because it's a 2nd and 3 situation now. But that is the end of the third quarter. We're going to head into the fourth quarter all tied up at 14 apiece. This conference game. Back and forth contest so far. The Owls are driving. The Owls are driving and they're looking to do what they need to do to get more points on the board. Looking at a 2nd and 3 to start off the fourth quarter. Cox fakes the handoff, back to pass, throws it to the left right there, and that's going to lose a couple of yards. That was not good there. He probably should have waited for Hearn to actually get out, get a little bit of yardage there, but apparently not going to happen here, as that is now going to bring up a 3rd and 5 situation. Brett Daniel on the sidelines at the moment. Cox here on 3rd and 5 needs to get something for this team, for the Owls to stay alive here. Back to pass, throws it to the left there, completes it, and that's just barely the first down. Just barely got the first down there. As the receiver fought for that yardage, that is for sure. That's going to bring up a 1st and 10 situation. The Owls are going to try to keep this drive going. Cox sends a man in motion. Fakes the handoff. Back to pass. Completes it. Completes it to Brian Stewart once again with a completion there. Able to get some yardage there. Bring a 2nd and short situation for the Owls. We're just trying to keep they're just trying to keep it going. 2nd and 1 here. Can the Owls get into the end zone again? Cox back to pass. Throws it to the right there. Has his man. First down. A big catch there by David Hearn, the fullback, who a couple of plays ago got tackled for a 2-yard loss. This time, he was able to get just enough for a first down. Brings it up to the 45-yard line for the Owls. Cox under center here. Sends a man in motion. Handoff to Daniel there, or not to Daniel, sorry, to Duncan, who was able to get absolutely nothing on that play. Bring up a 2nd and 10 situation. It definitely looks like the running or the passing game is where this is going to have to be for the Owls, because the running game, except with the exception of a couple of plays, is not as strong this week. Especially since most of those plays have been neutralized by holding calls anyway. Back to pass, completes it to the right there. 3rd and 2 now after an 8-yard completion there by Walker. Cox looking strong on this drive, keeping things alive. Can they pick up this 3rd and short, though? That's going to be the question. That is going to be the question. Can they pick up this 3rd and short situation here? They're 6 of 9 so far on 3rd downs for the game. This is a huge 3rd down situation to try to pick up here, though. Oh, I think they got him to jump. They got him to jump. Hearn's able to fight forward, I believe, for the 1st down there, but they did get the defense to jump. Offsides on the defense. That is a 1st down there. Big 1st down there after that offsides penalty by the defense. Able to get them to jump. So now they're at the 32-yard line. Cox under center, just coming up on 5 minutes left in the game. Turns around, hands off to his running back, who's able to get a couple of yards on that run. As Brett Daniels back in the game there, able to get 2 yards. And I mean, honestly, at this point, it's not a terrible idea to just try to like fight forward for a little bit at a time. You kill as much time off the clock, and then, put a points in the field goal. I mean, there's still a lot of time left on the clock, but it wouldn't be bad to try to kill as much time off the clock as you can right now, and then possibly go for that field goal. We'll have to see what happens, though. As Daniel's able to go absolutely nowhere on that run, it's going to bring up a 3rd and 8 scenario for the Owls. As we have another upset happening, as Stanford loses at home to Duke 27-6. A big thrashing by Duke there over Stanford. Number 18 goes down as well. 3rd and 8 scenario here. Florida Atlantic is 6 of 9 on 3rd downs in this game. But once again, they need another big conversion on 3rd down, this time 3rd and longer. Looking, throws it to the left, completes it, but that's a few yards short. That's going to be a few yards short, and that's going to bring up a 4th down situation. That is going to be a 4th down situation there. It looks like they're going to go for the field goal. About a 43-yard field goal here for the Owls to see if they can go up 17-14. The kick is up, and it is good. Florida Atlantic goes up 17-14 here. That ball almost didn't look like it was going to make it, honestly. Just cleared the upright. Not a strong kicker, but he was able to do it there. 17-14 ball game. And Middle Tennessee State is unable to get anything going on their drive. So now Florida Atlantic just needs to kill the clock. They get a couple of 1st downs here, kill the clock, and this game is going to be over. Handoff there as Daniel's able to take the ball to the right-hand side. They're able to get 5 yards on that run. 19 carries for 131 yards in this game. That's, you know what, even with the struggles in the second half of the running game, that is a very impressive stat line. Very impressive indeed. Back-to-back 100-yard running games for Brett Daniel. The running back who's quickly becoming a star here on this team this year so far. Cox is back to pass on this one on 2nd and 5. Throws it to the right. Receiver goes out of bounds, but he does get the 1st down. So, I mean, you know, doubles or, win some, you lose some on that one, I guess. He is able to complete it and get the first down, but it does stop the clock. Although I think obviously getting the first down is obviously a bigger deal than stopping the clock at this point, because that opens you up to a fresh set of downs. As now we're going to be able to get under 2 minutes here in the game with this 1st and 10. And Florida Atlantic's just going to let that clock run down. This is their game to win it, or this is definitely their game to lose at this point. So they need to actually, able to get the victory here. The turnaround, tossing it to the left there. Pretty good run there for 5 yards. The Blue Raiders starting to burn their timeouts. If the Owls can get a first down here, this game should be all over. 2nd and 5. Oh no. Did one of the offensive linemen just jump? One of the offensive linemen jumped on 2nd and 5. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 scenario now. That's going to make getting that first down even harder to get. A boneheaded play there by the offensive line of the Owls, but that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 now for Florida Atlantic. Just trying to do what they can to kill the clock at this point. And another penalty being called. Again with the penalties. And it's David Hearn, once again, the fullback. They need to get better about that. They need to stop doing those penalties. I mean, I guess technically it's not a bad thing because it did kill a couple of seconds off the clock, but not really enough to really warrant that holding penalty and bring them back even farther towards getting that first down. Because they need to get that first down here in order to secure the victory. Handoff, and that pretty much goes nowhere. Was able to get about 4 yards on that, but that's going to bring up a 3rd and long situation. So it's going to come down to the arm of... You got to imagine it's got to come down to the arm of Cox at this point to keep this drive and the game alive here. 3rd and 14. Cox back to pass. He's throwing it deep. And he gets intercepted. What a bone. He didn't need that many yards. I don't know why he was throwing it that deep. He did not need that many yards. He just needed enough yards for the first down. What was he thinking for that? A boneheaded play by Cox there. A very boneheaded play. I don't know why he was throwing that deep. He just needed 18. He just needed a short, not a short amount of yards, but he just needed to throw for the first down. He didn't need to throw for the long ball. And because of that, he may have just cost his team the victory here. A bad play indeed. Minute 35 left in the game, though. The Blue Raiders now have the ball just shy of the 50-yard line. Back to pass. Their quarterback's going to run for it. He's going to get tackled after a 7-yard loss, though. I mean, the clock is ticking, and the Blue Raiders only have 1 timeout, but still, you're going to have to get some stops here on defense. You're definitely going to have to get some stops on defense here. Back to pass. Throws it deep on the right side. Oh, that got swatted away. The defensive back there, Lester, with a big block there. It's 3rd and 3 situation here. Minute 3 left in the game. Back to pass. And completes it. And that's going to be a first down. That's going to be a first down for the Blue Raiders. They have to hurry back to the line, though. And they're going to spike the ball. 54 seconds left in the game. As Horn, the quarterback, spikes the ball. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 situation here. Can the Owls defense hold strong? Horn back to pass, throwing deep. Has his man completion touchdown to Kelly there. And just like that, Middle Tennessee State takes the late game lead. 20-17. Make that. It's 20-17. Well, that's not what you want to see if you're the Owls. 39 seconds left. They do have all 3 timeouts, but they are down by 3. They need to at least get down a good chunk of the field to try to force a field goal and try to force overtime. Cox is back to pass. He's throwing it deep. He has a man wide open down the right sideline into the end zone. Touchdown. What a firing back by Jesse Cox. A huge play there. After throwing it deep on the right side the play before and getting picked off, he throws it to Pittman this time. Pittman's able to get the catch and able to go deep for the touchdown. What a dagger thrown right back in the face of the Blue Raiders, that is. My God, a 74-yard completion for the go-ahead touchdown at the moment. I don't even know what to say there. The extra point is good. And just like that, it is now 24-20 with 29 seconds left in the ball game. We're going to watch the rest of these plays because this is insane here. Middle Tennessee State getting the kickoff here. The clock is ticking, but apparently the Owls are just going to let a huge return happen. Not a good sign there. Middle Tennessee State's going to have good field goal or good yardage here. Not yardage, good field position. But they do have 23 seconds and only 1 timeout left. They may have to hope for another deep bomb like they just had earlier. That's not going to do too well for him if he gets tackled behind the first down marker, which he did. The clock is ticking. Less than 10 seconds left. He's going to spike it with 6 seconds left. I don't know. I think I would have called a timeout there. I think I would have called your timeout. 6 seconds left and you are 46 yards away from the end zone. I would have called a timeout and tried to get as much time as you could. You could have called a timeout and thrown it deep, seen what you could have had happen, and maybe had a second shot at, all right, well, I don't know what the hell you're doing here. I guess you're getting your first down and then calling a timeout. So now you have 1 shot to the end zone. You have 1 shot to the end zone. That's it. Otherwise, this game's over. 2 seconds left in the ball game. Throws it deep. And it is, it is knocked away. The receiver had it and he got it knocked out of his hands. And after a close call that almost resulted in a last-second touchdown, the Florida Atlantic Owls, definitely on the back of Jesse Cox, their quarterback, was able to pull off this big 24-20 victory here over Middle Tennessee State in this conference game. The play of the game, I'm not surprised by this being the play of the game at all. Cox with the deep dagger that ends up being the game-winning touchdown. Right after throwing a deep dagger that was picked off, he throws another one to the same receiver. This time it gets caught and run into the end zone for a touchdown. Oh, Florida Atlantic with a nail-biter this week. But they are able to get the victory and go to 2-0 on this season. What a game there. Player of the game, Derek Pittman, 3 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. The game-winning touchdown that he caught there. What a game indeed for the Owls here. What a game. There we see that deep dagger that we thought might have ended the game right there. And then Jesse Cox says, screw your game-winning touchdown. I'm just going to throw one of my own. The big dagger to Pittman there. who was able to run it in for the touchdown. And there you go. The Owls with a 24-20 victory here. Game stat wise, we'll look at that really quick here. 16 first downs for Florida Atlantic to 14 for Middle Tennessee State. 405 yards of total offense at 343. 156 rushing yards. Look at that. Both teams 249 in passing yards. So Jesse Cox definitely turned things around this game. Wow. 20 of 27 for 249 and a touchdown. That is definitely a big improvement over last week's performance. Just good stuff there. 10 penalties for 80 yards. Those holding penalties just wrecking them. But another big victory for the Florida Atlantic Owls as they are able to go to 2-0 on this young season. And we'll kind of have to see how things play out in the future for the Owls here. Is it a big conference win for them? We'll go look. It's not going to have completely updated, but look at the conference standings really quick here. So as you see, Florida Atlantic 2-0. They won their first game, or the first conference game, so Middle Tennessee State will fall to 0-1. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see where things play out from there. Next week. Next week is where the 2-0 run ends, because I do not see us going to Georgia and winning. So next week's game may be a bit of a squash, but we're just going to have to hope for the best. We're just going to have to hope for the absolute best and hope that we can at least put up some points on the board. We'll have to see how that plays out. But thank you all for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Hopefully you're enjoying the series. And hopefully you're continuing to enjoy all the content I am putting on the channel recently. I've been pretty excited about everything so far. And, you know, we're going to have to see how it all plays out. But thank you all for watching. Definitely appreciate it. And we'll catch you all in a future video.